Welcome to my live stream live from Bangkok, Thailand. Yes, the pink shirt is back from the laundry. That's why it's a little tight. That and some delicious McDonald's food that I had last night. But today we're going to talk about quite a few things. The top story is going to have to do with what the biggest parenting magazine is suggesting for their parents on how to raise their boys and whether or not the red pill content is the way to go. Let's guess on what the outcome of that article is. Then we're going to visit this lady with tattoos and a nose rings who actually is going to give us a dating advice. Can't wait for that. Then, as always, I'm going to review a random dating profile from one of the dating apps. These are actually like real women. And then the comment of the day is from a man who I'm going to disagree with. So that's what's in for this live stream. If you're watching me live, go ahead and comment and ask questions. I love that. It's the best part of the live stream, if you ask me. So the top story is the new message and a stern warning from one of the biggest parents magazines in the world about how everybody should keep their young boys away from the red pill content. And this article that I looked at, essentially, if you look into it, is full of nothing but lies over lies over lies about what the red pill content is, sometimes even equating it with a white supremacy, which would be a surprise to everybody in this community. And I will go over this article one by one, don't worry. But I was starting to wonder as I was reading it, why in the world would you not want our next generation of boys to grow up to be protectors, providers, strong men who can run this country, who have self respect, who want to make something out of themselves, who have high standards for the women they're going to marry and have children for the next generation with? And I started to wonder, who the hell runs this magazine? So I looked it up. VP of and General Manager, a woman. Editorial Director, a woman. Associate Editorial Director, a woman. Senior Editor, a woman. A woman, a woman, a woman, a woman, a woman, a woman, more women, including the entire expert review board, which actually had balls to claim that they are made up of a diverse group of all women. So I started thinking, wow, so nothing but women run this magazine. And I guess if you're a modern woman who is an executive and enjoying this world where men are second class citizens and are always ready to simp for you, and you can always accuse them of anything that they've never done and have no punishment for it to have them go away. And why wouldn't you want that type of a world for your daughters in return? That sounds very nice. Genius, actually. It all makes sense. But now let's go over the actual article because there's tons of things that we should look into. Um, Now, for those of you who just for some reason just wandered into this channel and saying, well, what is a red pill movement? I will explain this very easily. There are two things that red pill movement does. One, it encourages men to be better every day, be healthier, be fitter, make more money, be better men, don't have bad habits, go to the gym. But it also teaches men that the world that they're living in is not exactly a perfect world for men. Men are disposable, men are second class citizens. And women, the modern women nowadays, have such high demands and have so little to offer that men need to have better standards for dating, more self-respect and self-esteem, and have good boundaries, which most American and Western men don't. That's the basic philosophy of the red pill movement. So let's go over and see what they say, how they are trying to mislead their viewers about what it really is. Now, right off the bat, one of the subtitle is, it allows young men to avoid accountability. No. First of all, there's no such thing as men avoiding accountability. The way the life is right now, will absolutely kick your ass if you're not going to be accountable for your actions and words. What we also teach is that you should hold women around you responsible for and accountable for their actions and words, because that in this reality is not a necessity at all, and women don't do it at all like they do in other countries, like here in Thailand. Women are very much held accountable for their words and actions, just like men are. Not in America. So this, as you've noticed, is already a classic gaslighting, right? When women, in order to not take accountability and responsibility for what they're about, try to gaslight men into saying that that's what you are. That's why you hear a lot of, oh, you're a narcissist, right? You're a misogynist. You know what? Who hurt you? You know, all of these things are actually true about modern women. But in order to hide that, the best strategy is just to point the finger on the other side. And this is just the classics. Now, let's dive into some of the other claims that they make. Here's one. Um, it says that the term is frequently used within online communities of cultures, particularly those associated with men's rights, involuntarily celibate ideology, and white supremacy, says Dr. Pansin, right? This is a doctor. This is her job to even understand what the fuck she's talking about. And yet she's associating it with the white supremacy. Well, this Jewish guy in a pink shirt is very much surprised. And so are a lot of other influencers. You understand that the biggest influencers in the space, including Andrew Tate, are not white at all. And I have never even heard of this claim. Red pill community is about men, not about race. In it is mind-boggling that this is an actual professional who's just flat out gaslighting their audience with, of course, as always, no lack of accountability, which is hilarious. And by hilarious, I mean sad. Um, Red pill communities are explicitly sexist, right? Now, this is another classic example where women who are now sexist, right, do not like when we're pushing back on that. And so, us accusing women of being sexist actually is sexist on itself, right? It says oftentimes young men who join red pill community on spaces like Reddit and exposed to misogynistic ideas. That is also incorrect. Misogyny, and again, I don't think people writing it even understand what it is when men hate all women, but we don't. We just hate you know, the staff of the Parents magazine, you know, other Western women. But for example, when you come to Thailand, right here, Southeast Asia, you absolutely love women, right? I love my mom. I love my nieces. It's, you know, the claim that we hate all women is just so fucking pathetically. You have to know nothing about red pill movement to claim that, or you need to know you could know everything about it and then want to mislead others. So, you know, the new generation does not simp and is not a second class citizens as the current generation of men. Let's move on to the next one. It's getting better and better. Being red pill is used to describe a mindset where someone believes society is stacked against men. Correct. It is. Western societies. Not here in Thailand. I feel like a regular, normal human being, especially when it comes to dating, gender roles, and relationships. Explained Jill Murphy, another woman, because they don't hire anybody else. But she is correct. Absolutely correct. People in this online communities always claim that women are manipulative. Yes, like this article written by a woman, overly focused on money and looks. Well, that's just a fucking fact. Even here in Thailand, it's getting to be there. And that feminism and in general female empowerment has gone too far. This is the only part of this article that's 100% true. As a matter of fact, it should probably go into Wikipedia to define what it actually did a better job of defining what the red pill community and philosophy is than me in the beginning of the segment. Um, Next one. This is one of my favorite. They give an examples of how horrible red pill community is to women. It says a young woman who claims that she dated a man who followed the red pill ideology laid out some of the red flags in their relationships, meaning communicated something to her when he wasn't happy, in her own post. For instance, he forced to unfollow male classmates and colleagues from her Instagram page. Yeah. As a matter of fact, if a girl has so many male friends, which essentially code for a bunch of dudes who she rejected, but who are still sticking around, waiting for that moment that maybe they'll get a chance. Yeah. I mean, this is just living in reality. It is a red flag. She goes on, shamed her for going to the club with her friends. Yes, women going out in slutty outfits, getting drunk so they can get a bunch of attention from men who are going to try to fuck them is not the behavior that you want from your future wife and the mother of your children. You see what I'm saying? Parents Magazine? Absolutely deal breaker, agree. And ultimately broke up with her because he claimed she's got overweight. Now, by the way, I found this article. Here it is. This is the post from that lady. And again, they gaslight you, right? They absolutely gaslight you. Um, let me show you that. Let me show you that post. Um, it's not like he claimed that she gained weight. Uh, she claims herself, I'm overweight at the moment, but when I was dating him, I used to be in a better shape. So spare me, you pieces of shit at Parents Magazine. It's not like it's right that you even linked to that article where people can see how full of shit you are because he didn't claim, she did. Because you know why? Again, taking accountability for your actions, something that you guys don't do at Parents Magazine. She got fucking fat, and women don't understand that their value to a man, one of the biggest value to a man, is not that you're holding an executive job at a magazine. It is that you're pretty. Your beauty and youth is your biggest value, along with giving a man a piece, which I'm sure none of the staff members of this magazine have even a clue of how to do. But yes, getting fat is going to devalue in the eye of a man, and it's essentially bait and switch, type of a scheme that we don't like from car dealerships, but somehow we're okay when women do that. Absolutely not. That is her number one job, to stay in shape. On top of that, when a woman or a man is getting fat, that means they have absolutely no discipline or self-regard for their own health. So yes, if a man who is a high value man, let's say, doesn't want any of that bullshit, he should dump this girl. In this case, he probably shouldn't have dated her in the first place. So, yes, the red pill content did exactly what we want to happen. Men growing balls, men not tolerating bullshit from their girlfriends and wives, communicating it to them, drawing the boundaries, and then enforcing those boundaries. And as you can see, this article says, oh, that is horrible. Men having self-respect and standards for us, and then when we cross those boundaries, they get rid of us. Outrageous, right? This is exactly what this community is about. Get rid of those fucking women out of your life because they are toxic and poisonous. Next one. Red pill influencers speak directly to a boy's feelings of insecurity or uncertainty. This is another classic gaslighting, that they're saying, oh, this man, they might be insecure. That's why they don't let us, fucking disrespect them, or try to get money out of them. This is another form of gaslighting. We're essentially speaking and hoping to make this man into a very much secure man. Only a secure man would say, yes, I want my self respect. I want to have boundaries. And when somebody violates them, usually a woman, I am going to take action, and get rid of that person, or at least warn that person not to do it and give them another chance. The red pill movement delivers a simple explanation for why they might feel rejected or lonely. Yeah, we do a pretty fucking good job at it because the explanation is not that hard, because women are not that complicated. It's quite easy to understand why women do what they do now. It also gives boys a sense of power or superiority over others, especially girls. Yes, in some ways, because men are superior over women. That's why women don't do any of the most important jobs in the world, because they fucking can't. The majority of the jobs that created and maintained everything around these women writing this article has all been created and maintained by men, because women don't want to do those jobs. There are very few of them who do, and some jobs are 100% men. So absolutely, this is right on the money. Let's look at one more, okay? Because guys, I can go on and on. This article is just complete fucking a pile of garbage when it comes to really telling the truth. The last one: red pill culture offers confused young men. Again, they have to be confused. They don't know what's going on. Wow, yeah, no. Those men who follow the red pill ideology are not confused at all. This is why it's called a red pill. When trying to red pill men is, the reference is to live in reality of what's happening to them, what women are doing, and understanding how to deal with it. So they're not confused. In black and white world view, it's because women are very black and white. It is. Men are alphas or betas. Women are hyper, I don't know this word. In other words, only looking for increase their status in relationships or transactional. But right on the money, right on the money. Just need to learn how to pronounce big words. That's all. So yeah, and guys, I can go on and on and on about this article, but at the end of the day, you know, it is a warning to us men that when our current parenting is run by women, and not just because this magazine is being run by women, right? Schools are run by women, colleges are run by women, social media networks are run by women a lot of times. By the way, I received 2 strikes on TikTok and 1 strike on YouTube on something that not at all violated their guidelines, but because of the type of content that I do, they decided that, yeah, let's try to get rid of this guy. And I'm not the first or last one which they're going to go after. So all of this, all of this kind of makes sense, except for we need to at some point have men have some control, especially strong men, not the simps, to have control over how we're raising our boys. Because over and over and over, the statistics show that boys and young men are falling behind. We put so much money and emphasis on advancing women, even though they may not be as good as men and whatever it is that they do. That now there are more women, finishing college, getting degrees than men, more women buying houses than men. Men have been left behind, and it's not that hard to get back on the horse. We're still men. We're still much better than women at all of those things, and yet we're losing. So it's time to take responsibility and let's save the boys from this feminist bullshit. Let's raise the new generation of men as men. But is there anybody left? Is there any real men left to intervene when women are trying to raise essentially the next generation of their servants in a second class citizens? Honestly, I don't know anymore. I really don't. But the fact that the biggest parenting magazine is trying to prevent boys from essentially growing up men is a big red flag for all of us. And at some point, if we don't do anything about it, it's the game is game over. Let me move on to the next segment, and I will reset the some of the graphics. The next segment is the Delulu of the week. And again, one of the easiest content to find on TikTok and social media is just women being completely delusional about what the world is. But that's the world that they like. It's great to be delusional, right? The world for women right now, the Western women, again, Western women, is amazing, absolutely amazing. All right. So the Lulu of the week is this young lady. So let's hear what she has to say. Let's go.
I have an important message for single men.
A tattooed girl with a nose ring is going to give me dating advice. Wow. That's like asking a fat man where the salad bar is.
All of my girlfriends who are currently single and dating are saying the exact same complaint about the dates they're going on, and that is that men are talking about themselves way too much, asking no questions, showing no interest.
Oh, I know why. The reason we talked too much is because you are usually boring, not interesting, and borderline annoying. That's what most women are. And so we're preventing you from talking our ear off about all kinds of bullshit that will just essentially make us fall asleep. It's just a fact. And when we do ask questions, by the way, you tell us that no, there's too many questions, and by the way, you cannot answer more than one at a time anyway. Oh, I feel interrogated and I feel like it's a job interview, which it is a job interview, bitch. You're interviewing to be taken care of for the rest of your life. But and please don't talk much because you are boring.
I understand that if you're nervous, it might be an easy default to just talk about what you know and talk about
Oh,
yourself.
wait. Ooh, what was happening? Oh, a nose ring. All right. Where were we talking about? Sorry, fell asleep here. Okay.
And it might kind of feel like a job interview and you want them to like you, and I understand that. But
Well, do you understand that? Because that's what you bitches say all the time. Oh, it's a job interview. Yeah, we're trying to find out, how many red flags do you have? And it's hard to explain to this fucking women. It is a job interview. Okay, that's how people get to know each other. The job interview is an employer trying to get to know the employee, possible potential employee, in the other way around. You see. And a lot of times the answers you give us is of a drunk 5-year old. It's impossible to ask you questions and get legit answers. Oh, what do you do for a living? I work in sales. Bitch, do you think that that answer was an actual answer to my question? What do you do? Sales is a real, like, everybody is in sales. Hookers down the street here in Bangkok are in sales. So, what a way to not answer my question with a fucking straight face. A lot of times, this happens all the time. I'm sure, gentlemen, let me know in the comment section if it happens to you as well. But you go like, okay, but what do you actually do? And that and this is why we don't want to deal with this shit. We'd rather just tell you about ourselves, which, by the way, you're going to try to look for red flags anyway. Women don't really try to look for the positive things about a man anymore. They just trying to look for just one red flag that will give them excuse to run away back to their tattooed friends and say, see, that's toxic. I'd rather be single and waiting for 6'2" multimillionaire who for sure will marry me.
you gotta have a little balance. Reel it in. Ask some questions.
And by the way, women like this don't really have to worry about good men ever wifing them up. Every good man, pretty much nowadays, who has any value in a dating market, knows to stay the fuck away from women with this many tattoos for sure, and nose rings and an attitude. You know what I mean? It is incredible how little accountability, going to the back to the first segment, these women are willing to take for their words and actions, and they really do believe that it's men's fault that these men are talking too much. It's amazing that, like, by the way, uh funny story. A few weeks ago, I had a girl over in my room. Right, it's the first time she was in my room, and she was extremely boring. Right, so I would be asking questions, and I was trying to keep the conversation going. And I shit you not, when we got to my apartment, I had to kick her out because she said, you talk too much. I said, bitch, what? Are you fucking kidding me? You're in my apartment half naked. You thought this was going to fly well with me? Get the fuck out. Put your clothes back on and get the fuck out. Can you? I couldn't believe, I mean, honestly, I couldn't believe that she could tell me as a man that I talk too much. And the reason I did was because she said nothing. She was fucking boring as shit. Right. So somebody had to fill the fucking air. Right, and I'm so much more interesting than her. And the fact that she had balls to tell me in my face that I talk too much while trying to fuck me, it unbelievable. Send her right the fuck down out of my apartment. And this is here in Bangkok, though she's African. Still, this happens all the time. But this is what men need to do when a girl says, "Oh, I think, get the fuck out of my life." Get a fuck. You did not pass the interview. Okay. All right. Let's move on to the next segment. And this is where I review real dating profiles of real women in real life. I mean, I do preset them, right? This is because a lot of them are just boring or stupid, or a lot of them are just fat and ugly, and that's just not the profiles we want to review. We want to review profiles like this. So let's get to it. All right. This is one of the dating profiles that you would look at and say, whoa, I'm going to swipe right at her. I don't see any red flags. Well, I'll point them out to you. And the profile does look all right at a first glance, but if you start looking into it, you'll see that you're not able to go through any more pictures. She has only one picture. It's only her top part, which usually means she's fat, right? And she just doesn't give a fuck. I mean, look, the profile doesn't really have much text either, even including the parts that she didn't even have to like type. She just could have just clicked the check boxes. She's like, fuck it, I'll have plenty of simps, replying to me. She is not looking for a real relationship or a real man. And a lot of times she's one of those women who just posts her profile to get the validation and attention. And she has no intentions whatsoever in actually going out and meeting any of these men. Now, another thing that you might want to notice is that she says, I know what I bring to the table, which is women speak for, I don't know what I'm bringing to the table because I don't have anything. If women who do know what they bring to the table, for example, a lot of dating profiles here in Thailand, they list the things that they bring to the table, and cooking is on the top of that list. I don't think this girl knows how to cook. But the biggest red flag in 100% swipe left is if you actually expand her picture. Boom. Now you see the tattoo, multiple tattoos, including a sleeve tattoo. Now, any man that is looking for a girl to actually marry knows that tattoos is a number one red flag, absolutely 100% swipe left. Now, like if you're looking for a hookup, which I don't think is going to happen with this girl, that's not what she's here for on a dating app, regardless of the fact that she does say that she's looking for it. Um, well, at least not for free. Let me put it that way, right? Uh, she's not a wife material, right? It is just she's not here for that. If you want to hook up with a girl with tattoos, you can. I'm just saying tattoos is a red flag for a serious relationship and possible marriage. But if you want to hook up with a girl and she's willing, tattoos are just perfectly fine. So, yeah, in this profile, it really doesn't have much. Like, I mean, I scroll and I scroll and I scroll, and as you can see, she didn't even do that many questionnaire answers here at all. Let me get back to the actual profile. So, again, I never suggest that you guys waste your time reading through the profiles or even looking through too many pictures. If the red flag is obvious, then of course swipe left. Don't waste your time. But most of the time, if you think a girl is cute, good enough for a hookup or whatever, swipe right and deal with it if she matches. As you know, most women don't really match with you because, well, as I said, most women are not on dating apps to date. And don't listen to me. This is many studies have been done that a lot of women, including married women, put their pictures, put their profiles like this, where they just put something on just to feel good about themselves, just to have a bunch of men simp for them, give them compliments, validation, and a lot of times money. It's a moneymaker for them. Dating services are now essentially the whorehouses where women make money without having to actually do the work that whores do. So be aware of profiles like this is very important because otherwise you can definitely get in waste a lot of time and money and be back to square one with pretty much getting nothing in return. All right, let's move on to the comment of the day. This one, I actually did try my best to look for something like, nasty comments, but the nasty comments that I get are really not that creative. So I only when I showed you some nasty comments, they really need to be creative. Otherwise, it's just poop throwing competition, right? Okay, the comment of the day is this comment for my video where I was showcasing a real dating app profile of a girl who would make a great friend with benefits, and she wasn't hiding it, and it's very rare, right? It's very rare. So I featured that profile, and this guy commented, "Well, she's not pretty at all, though." Now, listen, if you want a friend with benefits, which means a girl comes over to your place satisfies you and then essentially leaves. If you want a pretty girl to come over, you better be a fucking male underwear model over 6'2" and millionaire on top of that, which I'm assuming you are not because you did not think you were good enough for your own profile picture and ended up putting your dog, who I'm assuming is better looking than you, in there. So I don't think you're the one to talk. You need to stop being as delusional as most of these modern women and understand if you want a pretty girl, you better be a high value man and actually get in a relationship with them. But if you want a pretty girl for just a friends with benefits, it ain't going to happen. That's just reality, okay? All pretty women are either married in relationships or they're friends with benefits while charging for it. Okay, so gentlemen, and again, this goes back to the what we're talking in the beginning, right? How the Parents Magazine thinks we don't want to take accountability for our actions. Absolutely, part of the red pill community is to red pill men like this and tell him that the reality is he's not going to get a supermodel coming in, blowing him, and then getting on her way. That's just not what the reality is. And again, unless he's a male underwear model or really really rich, which essentially means he's going to buy a pretty girl to be friends with benefits, then this is bullshit and not the reality. And again, we talk about women being delusional, and that's just the reality. But I gotta tell you, a lot of men also are pretty delusional about what's happening and what they are. A lot of men are not in shape, sitting on the couches, thinking like, I can't believe all these supermodels do not want to jump on me and marry me, right? Or be friends with benefits with me. Gentlemen, if you want a pretty girl as a friend with benefits, again, you gotta improve yourself beyond and beyond and beyond. So, and again, I don't think this is a new reality. This has always been a reality for most men. Or again, you're gonna have to pay for it. That is your reality. That's what I think most men don't understand. All right. Today is Thursday, so tomorrow I do a last live stream of the week. I do them at noon my time here, which means it's a previous day for you guys. So it's Friday past noon here in Bangkok. It is evening or night in some cases in America. So one more tomorrow, and then we'll all have a good weekend. There have been, not as many men related stories though. Every day I bring you a top news story for men. There are no publications or YouTube channels that I know about where you can just come in and see the actual news about what's happening to men or with men, in a or related to men. These stories are not that easy to find either, right? Because there is no source for it. And even though I'm using ChatGPT to crawl all of the news articles and everything, it's not that easy. I have to dig into Reddits, I have to dig into Google searches and stuff like that, and news feeds. It is not easy to find these stories for you guys, but this is why I'm really proud that I'm doing this every day. And of course, all of the other segments that you get to enjoy. Thanks for watching me. I hope you have the great night and an awesome afternoon tomorrow. And I will see you back right here with another top story for men and a few other segments, including reviewing a comment of the day and a dating profile of the day as well. All right. Peace. See you later. If you want to ditch modern women and move abroad for more traditional relationships, go to themillionmanproject.com, take my most comprehensive course, and change your life.